This is Ask Todd on the Financial Exchange Radio Network. If you have an existing estate plan or are in the market for one, Todd Lutsky is here to answer your questions and help you plan for later life. Ask Todd is presented by Cushing & Dolan, serving Massachusetts and New England for more than 35 years, helping families with estate and tax planning, Medicaid planning, and probate law. Visit CushingDolan.com. Now, here's Todd Lutsky.
As promised, we're joined now by the one and only Todd Lutsky from the law firm of Cushing & Dolan. Phone lines are open, so get calling with your estate planning questions for Todd. 888-205-2263 is the number. Again, we call the segment Ask Todd, so that you can ask Todd your estate planning questions live on air right now. And so, again, room on the phone lines at 888-205-2263. 2263. We can usually get through 2 to 3 calls in any given show, so get calling early and often. Again, that number is 888-205-2263. Mr. Lutsky, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well. Can't complain. You?
Not bad. I have a pet snail.
Yeah, that's an interesting pet.
Yesterday, I took the shell off the snail to see if he'd get faster.
And?
Made him more sluggish.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, real problem.
It is.
Todd, I want to talk to you about irrevocable trusts. When you look at the menu of choices that an individual has, how many different kinds of irrevocable trusts are there realistically for an individual to choose from, depending on what they're trying to do?
Yeah, I think that's that's an interesting question, because I always tell people, there's many kinds of irrevocable trusts.
And I never know which kinds there are.
Yeah, we never really get into all these different kinds. You're absolutely right. So, it really depends on what you're trying to accomplish. So let's start with something like a qualified personal residence trust. Well, that's an irrevocable trust. It's a way of getting your home or your vacation home, very specific to only those two kinds of assets, where you transfer the home to the trust. And you have this reversionary period where then you have to live X number of years, and you can pick the term of years. Of course, the longer the term of years, meaning if you die within that term of years, then that property never is out of your estate. It's back in. That's called a risk of reversion. Well, that risk of reversion allows me to discount the value of the property I'm putting in there for gift tax purposes. So it allows me to lower the value, getting more assets out of my estate, leveraging my exemption by doing so. But the longer the time period, the larger the discount. And it's nice. Then it gets that asset out of your estate and all the future growth out of your estate. So that's for that. Then there's people who want to just make regular gifts. They might just set up gifting trusts just for children or grandchildren and have it designed only for them. That's okay too. Then there's people who set up spousal lifetime access trusts, also irrevocable, but these are, yes, like a gifting trust, but more designed for you, husband and wife. That's why they're spousal lifetime access trusts, to give something away, but retain the right to enjoy what you gave away, kind of indirectly. So very different than an outright gifting trust to kids or a grandchildren's trust. And then I'd say another one might be irrevocable life insurance trust, to hold life insurance and keep it estate and income tax free. And finally, how about a Medicaid irrevocable trust? Well, we talk a lot about that, which is why I left it for last, because we know about it. We know it's designed where, unlike a lot of these other trusts I just mentioned, this one is very much in control by you. Sure. You get to control it, use it, benefit from it, but yet avoid probate, reduce taxes, and protect it from the cost of long-term care. So very different trusts, very different control aspects to the trust, and very different reasons to do each trust, driven by your family needs.
Talking with Todd Lutsky from the law firm of Cushing & Dolan. Again, we've got space on the phone lines for your estate planning questions. 888-205-2263 is the number. Again, that is 888-205-2263. We are going to take a quick break here, but when we come back, we're going to get right to your questions with Todd. So again, get calling. We still do have room on the phone lines. That number again is 888-205-2263. One more time, It is 888-205-2263.
Ask Todd with Todd Lutsky every Wednesday at 10:30, only here on the Financial Exchange Radio Network. You're listening to Ask Todd with Todd Lutsky on the Financial Exchange Radio Network.
Talking with Todd Lutsky from Cushing & Dolan. Still got room for your phone calls. 888-205-2263 is the number. That number, again, is 888-205-2263 for you to ask Todd Lutsky your estate planning questions. Again, it's 888-205-2263. Todd, during the last segment, you mentioned irrevocable life insurance trust. Describe to me what that does and who that would be a potential tool for.
Yeah, interesting. Not only is it a type of irrevocable trust, it actually has its own subcategory. So there's two types of irrevocable life insurance trust. So within the life insurance trust world, we actually have two kinds. One is called the first to die, and the second one is called, ironically enough, second to die irrevocable life insurance trust. What do I mean by that? That's driven by the type of life insurance that you own. So let's play out the string. If I've got a first to die, let's say I'm the insured, it's a policy I own on my life. I would put that into an irrevocable life insurance first to die trust. Likely, if I'm married, make my wife the trustee, which is okay. I can't be. And then I can be the donor, and I can keep the power to remove and replace the trustee. So I keep some control.
Sure.
And then I just pay the premiums. I make a gift to the trust pays the premium, and life goes on. When I die, the money flows into that trust, income and estate tax-free, for the benefit of my spouse and my kids. And there'll be language in there with the spouse as trustee saying, I get the income for life, and the spouse can also take out the principal as needed to maintain her standard of living as needed. So great, she gets to enjoy it. So estate tax-free when I die, available for the use and enjoyment for my spouse. And to the extent my spouse has not spent it all, not taken it all, when she dies, whatever's left in there also not included in her estate, and passes yet again estate tax-free to either the kids or to a share for the benefit of the kids, depending on how long we want this to go on, generationally speaking, estate tax-free. So wonderful approach as to how that works with life insurance. Remember, you got a $2 million policy and you die in Massachusetts. That's one asset. You got an estate worth $2 million already. So
sure,
it can matter. It can matter. Second to die, on the other hand, is one where my wife and I are the owners of the policy, the insured on the policy. We both then contribute it to the irrevocable trust and are both the donors, and neither of us are the trustees. Usually put the kids on, but keep the power to remove and replace the trustee. So you keep some control. Now the benefits of the trust are for the kids and the grandkids. But again, we pay the premiums to the trust. The trust then uses the money to pay the actual premium to the insurance company. Life goes on till we both die. Then the money flows in the trust. And why is that important? Because that's really when the estate tax would be due, if any. And so now we use the money in the life insurance trust to satisfy the estate tax liability, to prevent any liquidation event to get money to pay any estate taxes, number one. And number two, we leveraged our dollars, right? So if we owed, let's say, $1 million in tax, but we only paid, $100,000 in premiums, wow, yeah, the government gets their $1 million in tax, but really out of our pocket, they only got $100,000 bucks. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's a pretty significant leverage, but life insurance can do that. I don't know if it's to that degree, but it certainly can provide leverage. I'm just trying to make a point. So, good idea if you're in that situation. So folks that need estate planning that have life insurance in play, please consider those. And if you need more information on these kinds of trusts, ILITs, revocable, other irrevocable trusts, revocable trusts, special needs trusts, pooled trusts, you might have a disabled child. Of course, nominee realty trust, Chuck, we hate those. No one knows what they are, so we certainly got to learn that. This is a great guide. The top 7 estate planning trusts will help you, if you've never done your planning, get started doing your planning and pick which trust is right for you. And if you've done your planning already, then this trust will help you figure out, well, maybe I need to upgrade, change. Maybe my dynamics have changed. Maybe I'm older and I want to switch trusts. Something for everyone in this guide. Top 7 estate planning trusts, 866-848-5699 or legalexchangeshow.com. Again, 866-848-5699 or legalexchangeshow.com.
Todd, got a question for you from Sarah in Westboro. Sarah, you're on with Todd Lutsky, and what's your question?
Well, I'm kind of curious because it's more on behalf of my mother-in-law. I listen to you guys all the time, and I feel like she's gotten bad advice about the idea of doing a trust.
Okay.
She's 80. Mm-hmm. She only has my husband as a child. She has 2 grandkids, so she figures she's written a will, and she's good to go. Mm-hmm. And when I mention trust stuff to her, she gets real prickly, so I'm not sure how to approach it. But she owns a house. She has assets. She has, pension and whatever. Uh-huh. And I think she's been given poor advice that she doesn't have enough assets to make it matter. Just write a will.
So if her goal is, and again, at 80, I have to talk about or think about at least, nursing home type planning as well. So we really just have to ask her some questions, help educate her as to what her wishes are. When I meet these clients, I would say to them, well, I'm not just going to throw a trust at you. I'm going to say, do you want to make sure that you avoid probate? And they would say, oh, yes, I hate probate. Do you? And it doesn't sound like she's over $2 million, so let's assume she doesn't have any estate tax issues, but that's always an issue. Then I say, well, do you want to provide for your family? Do you want to figure out how to leave your assets in an efficient manner? Because a will won't do that. It won't even avoid probate. And if they say yes, you see, you gotta get. We only want to do what they want to do, and we can't make them do anything, nor do we try. My goal is simply to educate, and as it should be yours, to just ask her these questions. Avoid probate, yes. Provide for my family, grandkids, what have you, yes. Do you want to make sure the nursing home doesn't take it so your kids and grandkids can get it? Yes. So you're getting her to say these are the things she wants to do. Then you can say, well, okay, a will not accomplish that. Does not avoid probate. You file the will with the court. Does not protect assets from the nursing home, period. So there's, a will's a won't. I've said that more than one time. Then once you get them on board, then it's up to the lawyer to explain to them how the irrevocable trust will keep them in control, because that's their next big concern. Oh my gosh, am I going to lose all this control? And I'm sure she might have those same concerns. And we have to educate them as to how they won't lose control. I know even when I do a seminar and I teach other lawyers or accountants these issues, they'll come up to me and they'll say, Todd, it sounds great when you say all this, but when I talk to my client and try to teach them these irrevocable trusts, they just say that they're too restrictive and they can't do it. And I have to politely sort of answer them by saying, well, is it the irrevocable trust that's the problem, or is it the person who's explaining it perhaps not the right way is the problem? So it's just a matter of educating them so they understand that it does work for them. But even at the end of the day, if they still say, I just can't get past the word irrevocable and it's not right for me, well, then we don't do it. So I just want people to make sure they're making decisions based on answers and information that's accurate. You hate to make them answer questions that on inaccurate information. So that said, I hope that helps you with your situation.
Mr. Lutsky, thank you so much for the time today.
Always a pleasure.
This has been Ask Todd on the Financial Exchange Radio Network. Ask Todd with Todd Lutsky has been presented by Cushing & Dolan, serving Massachusetts and New England for more than 30 years, helping families with estate and tax planning, Medicaid planning, and probate law. Call 800-393-4001 or visit CushingDolan.com. The views expressed in this segment are solely those of Cushing & Dolan. Armstrong Advisory does not provide any legal or tax advice. Please consult with your legal or tax advisor on such matters. Cushing & Armstrong do not endorse each other and are not affiliated.